No, not at all. I think, firstly, from a results perspective, I think we're seeing a 3% underlying service revenue growth, obviously offset, as you say, by mobile termination rates, which then results in a 0.3% service revenue growth, 5.5% on revenue boosted by equipment sales. But in there is a big pricing transformation program that we're putting in and having driven prices down effectively by over 21% this year overall, and 24% on prepaid. The MTR debate, I think, is very much, it really, MTRs always start high, and they started high globally. And effectively, as the mobile operations have grown and have gone scale, those termination rates have come down. And, and basically you see that around the world. So the mobile termination rates, the decline is expected.
But you are pushing back on those termination rates, and the perception is that Vodacom and MTN have made these super profits for years, and now you don't want a fair playing field.
So the mobile termination rates coming down is accepted. I think that's, it's par for the course of being in telecommunications. And so we were encouraging the regulator to bring it down. The issue that we have is not around the termination rates coming down, it's the level of asymmetry that was given, which effectively amounts to a subsidy that you're providing to the smaller players. Now, when they bring your rate down by half and they give your competitor 120% asymmetry from a current rate of 10%, that's what we had an issue with, and that's what we were challenging. And also, I think the other big thing was that the mobile termination rates have to be informed by a cost study. And it has to be done properly, because there's multiple players, there's multiple impacts, and also unintended consequences that come from this. Remember, there's big streams, there's millions of people's livelihood depend on telecommunications. And when the rates come down, what do? You go and adjust your business, which means you invariably cut things, and that's that. So you don't want to. You want to make sure it's informed by a proper study that takes into account all the consequences.
What about the argument that you've been, just by the very structure, you've been subsidized for years, so you should be able to handle lower prices now?
It's not really about us being subsidized, because it's Telkom who normally makes that argument. But remember, they've been charging us exorbitant transmission prices and still do for the better part of 20 years. So I think one needs to look at the full the full story when we make that type of comments. Also, I think it's important to note that mobile termination rates globally started high, and then glided down. So they came down over time as network operators started to get the scale. So as you build up your customers, yes, that it's true, then the rate should come down. But that's why it's important to do a cost study, which determines where your costs are and then allows you to set the rates. Now, we should have probably done that every 2 years and so on as a country. But, and remember, we were proactively years ago saying, okay, let's bring down rates. We proactively brought rates down together with the regulator over the years. And also, you've got to balance, obviously, the investment case as well.